I am the Executive Deputy Secretary of Asian Financial Cooperation Association, Yang Liyu. I would like to extend warmest welcome to all the distinguished participants online and offline. Since the founding of the AFCA, we have received substantial support from our superior authorities and our colleagues and counterparts. Here, on behalf of AFCA, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of you. On January the 1st, 2022, the RCEP came into effect. The completion of RCEP, Free Trade Zone, means that about 1/3 of the global economy will form an integrated market, which is a key milestone in the process of Asian economic integration and plays an important role in the development of the world economy. Today, the Parallel Forum of Financial Street Forum hosted by AFCA is to discuss the new process of Asian cooperation in the special period of RCEP's opening year. At today's meeting, in addition to the member units of AFCA, we also got honored to have with us the leaders of the Chinese financial authorities, Korean Financial Supervisory Authority, executives of international and regional organizations and important Asian financial institutions, as well as experts and scholars. Here, please allow me to introduce the leaders and guests present today. They are the Vice Chairman of China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, Mr. Zhou Liang. President of Bank of China, Mr. Liu Jin. Executive Vice President of Agriculture Bank of China, Mr. Zhang Xuguang. And Mr. Cui Yong, Executive Vice President of China Construction Bank. And Mr. Guan Tao, Global Chief Economist of the Bank of China International Securities. And also Mr. Wang Wen, Chief Economist of China Export Credit Insurance Corporation. And Mr. Wang Wen, Mr. Timo Michael, Head of Rep Office of Astana International Financial Center, Mr. Dong Lujing, Vice President of Insurance Association of China, and Mr. Park Song Wang, Deputy Governor of Financial Supervisory Service, Mr. Clay Lawrence, Executive VP of Institution of International Finance, and also Charles T, President of Bangkok Bank, and Hideki Take, Senior Executive of Head of Corporate Mizuho, and Mr. Timo Big, Managing Director and Chief Economist of DBS Bank, and Madam Zhi Huan from Bank of China Hong Kong Limited, and also the Zhong Zhisheng, Chief Economist of Ping An Securities, Ya Qinhui, General Manager of MBB Shanghai, and also Mr. Cheng Shi, Chief Economist and Managing Director of ICBC, and Mr. Richard, Executive Vice President, Head of the Overseas Banking Group of Metropolitan Bank and Trust Company. Let's give them a warm applause. And the members of our association and also friends online. And now we will start with the first session, the keynote speech session. Now let's give the floor to Vice Chairman of the CBIRC, Mr. Zhou Liang. The floor is yours, please. Distinguished guests, dear colleagues, good morning. It is a great pleasure to participate in this FSF and also the Asian Financial Summit. On behalf of CBIRC, I would like to extend my warmest congratulations on the convening of this event. And also, I would like to extend our sincere thanks for the colleagues and counterparts and friends that have supported the banking and insurance sector in China. President Xi has pointed out at the 17th conference of the G20 that all countries should build the concept of a community of shared future for mankind. We need solidarity instead of confrontation, cooperation instead of division, inclusion instead of exclusiveness. Today, we are gathering here to discuss about the economic and financial cooperation in Asia, which is quite significant. Since ancient times, all splendid civilizations have been reciprocating with each other for common development, and they have created very splendid institutional and material finance. In the past several decades, Asia has been the fastest growing region in the world with deepening regional cooperation. It is one of the most dynamic regions in the world. In the face of the sudden COVID-19, Asian countries meet each other halfway and jointly cope with the COVID-19 and take the lead in recovery, which is a positive element in the global economy. In January, RCEP took effect formally, marking that the most populous and FTA with the largest economic trade scale formally formed, and regional countries actively use the tax reduction, origin accumulation, and trade facilitation to build this integrated new model for economic and trade cooperation and build an open regional development and to build the more stable supply chain and industrial chain and more transparent and facilitating investment environment. Dear colleagues, the development of Asia has fully shown that peace, development, cooperation, win-win results are unstoppable. And now the profound changes are accelerating, and globalization is faced with headwinds, inflation, COVID, geopolitical conflicts, climate change. These new challenges have posed new threats to the stable economic development of the world. We also need to see that the willingness and power to promote open cooperation is strengthening. When the international environment is very complex, we need to further strengthen our consensus in overcoming difficulties, and we need practical cooperation. The economic scale of Asia accounts for 47.4% of the world's total. It is an important force in the world economy. All countries in Asia need to stick to the right direction of economic globalization. We need to work together and to help each other and to promote innovation and deliver win-win and common development, and we also need to adhere to this sound and steady development track. Number one, we need to jointly promote economic stability and recovery. Asian countries need to strengthen macro policy coordination and improve the regular coordination mechanism and strategy alignment and the synchronized effect of market resources, and to promote economic drivers. We need to make innovations in terms of agriculture-related areas, poverty reduction, micro and small-sized business support, and the help for the vulnerable groups. And we need to provide inclusive finance in these areas. We need to promote green finance and improve the scientific innovation, build an open, transparent, non-discriminatory digital financial service environment, and to also to deliver more benefits more equitably for the Asian peoples. Second, we need to join hands to promote the deep integration of the supply chain. And the Asian economies and industrial structures are quite complementary, and we are interdependent and mutually reinforcing with each other. To adapt to the integration trend, we need to focus on the flow of capital, information, commodities. We need to promote cross-border financial services, digital finance, supply chain, and to promote the upgrading of supply chain and to also safeguard the safety and stability of the supply chain. Number three, we need to commonly safeguard regional financial stability. We need to deepen the cross-border supervisory cooperation, improve the risk monitoring, pre-warning and response mechanism, improve the liquidity cooperation, crisis assistance arrangement, sovereign currency stability, and strengthen the financial supervision to improve the resilience and security of finance. And we need to deepen anti-money laundering, anti-terrorism financing, anti-tax evasion, and consumers' rights and interest protection, etc. We need to commonly combat illegal activities, and in Improving the financial infrastructure is also an important area for international cooperation as well as the data security. We need to jointly deal with the network security risks and to build a community of shared network space. Number 4, we need to coordinate and promote international governance reform. Through the shared concept, international dialogue and consensus, we need to participate in the reform of governance and also improve the representation of emerging economies and developing countries. We need to uphold multilateralism and oppose protectionism. We need to oppose the decoupling and building walls among countries, and we need to oppose unilateral sanctions and ultimate pressure on other countries to promote the just and reasonable financial governance. The National Congress that just concluded has drawn a grand blueprint for the modernization of the country and has provided guidelines for the future. China will stick to our openness state policy and stick to the mutually beneficial and win-win cooperation strategy, and we will continue to provide new opportunities through our own development. Since 2018, China has launched more than 50 financial openness policies, and additional 120 foreign financial and insurance institutions are now having their presence in China. Comparing with 10 years ago, the capital of foreign invested companies and insurance companies in China increased respectively by 50% and 130%. This shows that international investors are quite confident in China's long-term stable economic development. Going forward, we'll further implement the spirit of the 20th National Congress and be a staunch supporter of financial openness. Number 1, we need to be more open in our policy. In the new era, this financial openness will be guided by the new development concept, and we will actively serve for the high-quality development of the economy, and we will also promote reform innovation to inject new vitality to the economic development. The financial sector will further deepen the supply-side structural reform. Through the deepening of reform, we'll further improve the external openness and further improve the allocation efficiency of resources, market competitiveness, and build an all-around multi-layer financial institution, market system, and production system. Number 2, we need to build a more diversified openness pattern. Based on our advantages, we need to optimize the dual circulation financial link system, attract high-quality resources, and build new pattern. On the basis of facilitating commodity and element circulation, we need to expand and improve rules, norms, management, standards, openness, and also to accelerate the alignment and convergence with international financial and supervision mode and systems. We need to play equal importance on introducing foreign capital and going global, and also facilitate intercommunication among talents and among financial markets. Number 3, we need to provide a more optimized open environment. We need to create a level playing field for all players and to build the rule of law and the first-rate business environment. And we need also to improve the inactive list environment and also the pre-access national treatment, and to implement RCEP well, and to encourage all the financial institutions to give full play to their capital, technology, experience, strengths in products, business management, and talent cultivation. Number 4, we need to build more safe, open system and improve prudent management and the prudent management at macro level, and optimize our supervisory modality and improve our capabilities for economic and financial management capacity and risk funding capacity, and also to strengthen the financial stability guarantee system, and also to improve the prudent supervisory system, and to improve our communication with international organizations to promote bilateral and multilateral cooperation in the supervision to build a more open and transparent international governance pattern. Dear colleagues, only when Asia is developing well, the world can be better. Let's just work together and stick to win-win cooperation, solidarity, and mutually beneficial cooperation. Let's contribute to the stable and prosperous development of Asian economy and finance. I wish this conference a full success. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Zhou, for your very exciting opening address. It is true that we have an even recovery in the economy, and this is a great challenge to this economy, but also bring in some new opportunities because of this. And we are very happy to have this opportunity to discuss RCEP. And also, we have this came into effect as a catalyst to promote economic development and cooperation in Asia. Thank you very much, Chair Zhou. Now I'd like to invite the President of Bank of China from Mr. Liu Jing to give us the opening address. The floor is yours. Distinguished Vice Chairman Mr. Zhou Liang, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my pleasure to join you with old and new friends in this 2022 forum of this Asia Financial Cooperation Association, as well as this forum entitled RCEP, Embark on a New Journey of Asian Cooperation. And Mr. Liu Liange attach great importance to this forum. He originally planned to join us in person, but due to urgent business arrangement, I'm sorry he cannot join us in person, but entrusted by President Liu, on behalf of him and Asia Financial Cooperation Association, the organizer of the conference, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all the guests and delegates in this forum. Now the international and the regional situation is going through profound and complex changes. Uncertainties and unstable factors are increasing. Impact of the COVID-19 exists. Inflation in some developed countries is running at a high level. The risk of global economic downturn is increasing. Though Asia has overall stability and development momentum, it is also faced pressure and the challenges such as aging population and a rising debt. To meet the challenges of crisis, we need to pull the wisdom and move forward hand in hand. Not long ago, the 20th National Congress of CPC clearly pointed out that China builds a global high-standard free trade network, adhere to the direction of economic globalization, promote trade and investment liberalization and facilitation, actively promote bilateral, regional, and multilateral cooperation. In November, the ASEAN Summit, series of East Asian Cooperation Leaders Meeting, G20, and informal leaders meeting of APEC have been held in Southeast Asia countries. Global governance ushers in the Asian moment, especially after signing and entry into force of the RCEP. The openness dividend has been continuously released, promoting development of regional economic integration. By the report of Research Institute of International Trade and Economic Cooperation of Ministry of Commerce in China, the trade between the whole region and the world is growing rapidly. The growth rate of most members is more than double-digit, and the growth rate of foreign investment is very evident. Today, we are holding this forum with the theme of the beginning of RCEP, opening up a new process of Asian cooperation, which is at the right moment as a platform for international cooperation in Asia. And we have been very positive in promoting financial cooperation and common governance among Asian countries. First, continuously optimize the governance of the association. Efforts have been made to enhance the regional universality and representative of the member organizations, and some governance system documents have been revised to make the operation of the association more standardized, actively absorb fresh ideas, and also we have a special committee newly elected. And secondly, promote international financial cooperation, such as the Astana and the BRI, Subforum and Annual Industrial Finance, series of international conferences. The report on green finance practice of Asia Financial Association and the International Exchange and Cooperation briefing were also prepared. And we also released the hot news of Green Financial Cooperation, weekly update of financial cooperation in the BRI, weekly update of global financial technology to continuously track these hotspots in the field. Third, actively participate in international financial governance. In March this year,
And we have been the first Class A liaison member of the Financial Services Technical Committee of the International Organization for the Standardization, building a bridge for its members to participate in international financial standardization. And we keep carrying out Asia research, and the annual report and the quarterly report of Asia Financial Watch in 2022, Global Industrial Finance Observation Report in 2021, Research Trends of Asia Financial Association and Economic Financial Report, BRI report, etc., and improve the research capacity of our association in the field of Asian finance. 76% of the members of AFCA came from RCEP, covering banking, securities, insurance, funds, asset management, financial services, and other fields, which has a high matching degree with RCEP implementation. One is to promote internationalization of financial standards of RCEP member countries based on the status of a Class A liaison member of the Financial Services Technical Committee of the International Organization for Standardization. The AFCA can encourage and guide standardization experts of member units to participate in the development and the revision of international standards in a wider range and at a deeper level. We also welcome members to participate in the construction of international financial standardization, carry out the applicability analysis of international standards, in combined with specific situation, promote internal standards to be in line with the international ones, while strengthening the coordination. Secondly, promote the development of new financial innovation services. RCEP introduced a new financial service and other provisions, stipulating what foreign investors can be allowed to provide new financial services in accordance with principles of internal and external consistency, creating a good platform for all parties to expand financial opening in an orderly manner. And our association relies on the professional committee to make a green finance, financial technology, and exclusive finance to assess the member institutions. And also, we shared the innovative experience in the new financial field, explored the commonness and the law of the financial services supporting the transformation of real economy. Thirdly, promote and strengthen bilateral monetary cooperation. The signing of RCEP will increase the trade exchange between member states. Our association can encourage member organizations to promote the use frequency of their own currencies in the trade between member states, enhance the settlement proportion in cross-border trade and investment of RCEP. Member states' RCEP members are important players in the global commodity market. Here, we also call on RCEP member states and member organizations or regions along the BRI to further enhance the level of local currency settlement cooperation. For example, to include commodity pricing and settlement into the scope of local currency settlement. To better promote prosperity and the stability of RCEP regional trade. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, as the chairman unit of the Asia Financial Assistance Association, as the Asia Financial Cooperation Association, Bank of China, by relying on the favorable conditions of its overseas institution in 42 BRI countries and regions, as well as RCEP member states, actively contributed to the development of regional integration. From January to September, Bank of China achieved a cross-border RMB settlement of over 400 billion yuan in overseas RCEP countries and regions, provide over $250 billion of settlement for goods trade of RCEP member countries. And in the future, we hope to help RCEP build a high-standard free trade area through joint efforts with relevant partners so as to better serve the stable development of Asia. Once again, I'd like to welcome all of you. I hope you can have a candidate discussion and expect us to contribute more wisdom and strength to further promote development of the Asia Financial Cooperation Association and also promote a landing of RCEP and deepen Asia financial cooperation. And finally, I wish this forum a great success. Thank you very much. Thank you, President Liu, for your wonderful sharing and your expectation. And we know that Asia Financial Cooperation Association, together with members such as Bank of China, and it could make a greater wisdom and strength to the RCEP's future development. Now, we're going to have the keynote speech. First of all, I'd like to invite the Deputy Governor of the Financial Supervisory Service to give us the speech. Please look at the screen.
Good morning, everyone. I am Park Sang-won, Deputy Governor of the Financial Supervisory Service of Korea. I'd first like to congratulate the opening of the Financial Street Forum and the 30th anniversary of Beijing Street Financial Street. I am very pleased to be a part of this event and would like to thank everyone for inviting me today. I also want to thank Vice Chairman Zhou Liang and the panelists for the great ideas. Asia-Pacific countries made a close relationship based on the regional comprehensive economic partnership. And I hope today's forum will improve this cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 is a very important year that RCEP has finally started. As you know, RCEP is the largest and the first mega trade deal in the world. It includes 15 countries and 2.3 billion people and covers 1/3 of global GDP and trade. This economic partnership is very special because all member countries agree to open their service market. And I think the market will open more in the future because the RCEP countries promised to be transparent and share change in regulation. RCEP will also state the measures to digitalize the market by liberalizing e-commerce. These measures include allowing free data flow in the Asia-Pacific region, legally offsetting electronic signature, and lifting customs on electronic transmission. And all this will make it legally possible to provide platform-based financial service in the region. In this way, both financial and fintech companies will have more chance to advance overseas. So I'm sure that RCEP will further integrate the Asia-Pacific market. Ladies and gentlemen, when we enhance financial cooperation in the region, I believe Asia will be new center of global finance. I hope RCEP will strengthen regional cooperation and open the Asia-Pacific financial market. I wish you success in your future, and I also hope we have a useful discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Park. Just like you said, that the RCEP is very special with far-reaching effect, bringing more development opportunities. Meanwhile, it promotes further integration of Asian market. Now, I'd like to invite Executive Vice President of Agricultural Bank of China, Mr. Zhang Xuguang, to give us the speech.
Distinguished Vice Chairman Mr. Zhou Liang and President Liu Jin, dear colleagues, good morning. I'm very happy to speak on behalf of the ABC, Agricultural Bank of China, and this marks the first year for our RCEP to take effect. It is quite important for releasing economic vitality, and it is also quite favorable for the regional financial cooperation. And based on our practice, I would like to share with you some important topics. The first is that we have extended the high-quality RCEP cooperation, and this is called High Quality Service RCEP Action Plan, focusing on serving the regional trade investment facilitation. And the aim is to provide high-quality and comprehensive cross-border financial services. In the first 9 months of this year, the ABC has served our RCEP region with a value of $160 billion and provided 80 billion yuan of international trade financing. Second, we will enrich cross-border financial service functions and help enterprises expand the regional market. In recent years, we have been actively promoting the cross-border digital finance, launched a series of brands like ABC, Cross-Border E-Link, and constructed the whole process online cross-border financial product service system. In the first 9 months of this year, the online cross-border remittance of ABC exceeded 130 billion USD, an increase of 39%. While more than 16,000 customers were benefited. Going forward, ABC will focus on the financial needs under the RCEP framework, continue to provide comprehensive financial services such as account management in local and foreign currency, international settlement, cash management, foreign-related guarantee, trade financing, cross-border direct loan, capital transaction, among others. And also to help the development of the market, we continue to enrich the digital service functions of cross-border financial products in combination with RCEP paperless trade rules. Number 3, we will promote the cross-border use of RMB and enhance the trade and investment facilitation. Now we have formed a cross-border RMB business system covering many fields. And in the first 9 months of 2022, the amount of cross-border RMB settlement of our trade and deficit and direct investment was nearly 800 billion yuan, up 15%, while of which amount of settlement in RCEP region was 133 billion yuan, up 27%. Effective implementation of RCEP has provided a good foundation. And also, we have opened 53 RMB interbank accounts for banks in the region through cooperation with 109 banks, and will carry out our extensive cooperation in international settlement, trade financing, currency trading, bond issuance, custody services, capital market, customer recommendation, while furthering financial cooperation with our counterparts. Over the past year, AFC has played a great role in expanding regional financial cooperation, global financial governance, and the pandemic prevention, and enhancing exchanges in the field. Going forward, we will also utilize the framework and platform set by AFCA and to continue and deepening our cooperation in the major areas. First, we need to jointly help the regional industrial supply chain to be stable and safe. The RCEP implementation will reshape the regional industrial supply chain and jointly meet the challenges of external shocks. And it is the living water for financial smooth industry supply chain. And ABC will be willing to join hands with financial peers in the region, make use of policy advantages, and to promote the resilience of the regional financial cooperation and safe operation. Second, we jointly serve the high-quality development of the BRI. In the 20th CPC National Congress report, it is mentioned that to promote the construction of an open world economy to better benefit the people of all countries, and clearly pointed out that we need to promote the high-quality development of the BRI. Therefore, the BRI and the RCEP agreement are important measures to promote the construction of an open economy, and they are reinforcing with each other. Many countries and regions are important nodes of the BRI in the region, and the joint construction of BRI and high-quality implementation of RCEP will be the two-wheel drive for economic cooperation in the region. ABC will be willing to work with friends such as financial circles, business circles, to continue to promote financial cooperation at multi-level with diversified and sustainable financial resources. The third is jointly expand new areas of green financial cooperation. So, as a cross-regional FTA, RCEP not only promotes the development of foreign investment and regional economic integration, but also it requires all sectors to continuously strengthen regional eco cooperation and sustainable development. In recent years, ABC has focused on serving green development and dual carbon strategies, and we look forward to strengthening pragmatic cooperation with the financial peers and to promote green finance, improving the ecological environment and sustainable development, and to commonly serve for the high quality and green development of the region. With the RCEP and economic integration, the cooperation in the region will be elevated to a new level. ABC will further make our efforts to the international cooperation and to contribute to the high level and opening up and regional economic prosperity and development. Finally, I wish this forum a full success. Thank you. Thank you, President Zhang, VP Zhang. And VP Zhang shared about some practices of ABC under the RCEP framework and also the measures for deepening the cooperation. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. And now we would like to give the floor to the Executive VP of the RIF. Let's look at the screen.
My name is Clay Lowry. I'm the Executive Vice President at the Institute of International Finance. The IIF is a member-based organization with over 400 members in around 65 countries in the world from various types of financial services firms. I want to thank you, Financial Street Forum, the Asian Financial Cooperation Association, and its board chair from the Bank of China, which happens to be an IIF member, for having me here today to talk about Asian financial cooperation. I regret that I'm taping this instead of being able to attend the conference in person. You have some terrific speakers and an exciting conference agenda, and it would have been great for me to be there, frankly, just to learn, but also to speak with others and share views and have a conversation, something that you can do in person, but it's much, much harder to do when you're on video. I'm actually recording these remarks in a hotel room here in Kuala Lumpur, where I'm visiting with IIF members in Malaysia. From here, I'll actually go to Thailand. And there, we're going to be hosting a conference with the Bank of Thailand and AWS on digital finance, in particular on decentralized finance, known as DeFi, Web 3.0, and cloud computing, particularly in how it applies to Asia. After that, I'll be going to Tokyo, where we're hosting for the first time since COVID hit, so almost 3 years, the chief risk officers of financial institutions throughout Asia to discuss, well, risk in Asia and the globe itself. Now, normally when I give remarks, I would not be telling you about my travel itinerary. But I thought that the travel itinerary that I have and that IIF is doing fits very well into the theme of your conference, which is Asian financial cooperation. And we'll be doing a lot more of that at IIF in 2023, as well as what we've already done in 2022. But let me get back to that a little bit later. Instead, I'd like to talk about the state of international financial cooperation, and particularly in Asia. At a high level, I would say the state of it is broken and not looking very good. But maybe as we go further down, as we get into some details, there is a little more hope. If we go back to the 2007 through 2009 global financial crisis, which largely emanated from the United States, I was a U.S. government official. I worked at the Treasury Department under Hank Paulson, who was my boss. We worked very hard to cooperate internationally on a number of fronts. Sometimes it was on financial issues. Sometimes it was on macroeconomic policies. Sometimes it was on avoiding beggar thy neighbor trade policies and avoiding protectionism. Sometimes it was on thinking about how do we rework global standards for financial regulation and supervision, and even creating a leaders level G20 summit, which in the past had always been done at a finance level, but we thought that we needed better global cooperation among leaders. While there were some failures during this time, I think that largely this effort of cooperation was successful. And maybe that was because we had a common enemy, and that common enemy was financial instability. Today, we face a very different situation. We're not facing a global financial crisis, but we are facing most likely global economic recession, highest inflation that most countries have seen for 30 or 40 years. Just yesterday, as I tape this, President Xi and President Biden met for the first time face-to-face since President Biden came into office 2 years ago. And the conversation seemed to be mildly positive. Maybe more importantly, if you look at specific areas, there does seem to be some hope. So let me just point out three. First is in sustainable finance. This has been probably one of the biggest areas to grow in the financial space, both for the challenges, how do you regulate it, how do you find disclosure requirements, and the opportunities that might arise. So let me just look at one, which is called blended finance. Now, what is blended finance? That's basically taking official sector money and trying to leverage it up in order to get greater private sector money. to try to deal with climate change or other sustainable finance goals. This is something that is starting to happen, and we at the IIF will be trying to take advantage of that by working with the Asian Development Bank at its annual meeting, which is going to take place in Seoul, Korea, in early May next year, to see whether or not there are areas that can be utilized both on the philosophical level, but much more importantly at the ground level, so that we can actually lever up and try to find better opportunities in the blended finance space across Asia and maybe even the world. Second is digital finance. Now, in the digital finance space, I think there are some common principles that we're starting to see. How do we protect consumers and investors in this? How do we make sure that there is not financial instability? How do we make sure that privacy is protected? All of that is very important. But then we get into something like a CBDC, central bank digital currency. We see, actually, I'm sitting here in Malaysia. Bank Negara is actually working really hard with the Bank of International Settlement, Monetary Authority of Singapore, and the Reserve Bank of Australia to look at how could they actually share a platform, CBDCs, so that they could basically have better interoperability, and so that cross-border payments can become even more efficient and more effective going. A third area is in sovereign debt, particularly for vulnerable countries or lower income countries. Over the last few years, those lower income countries have had to spend money, largely for fairly obvious reasons, like COVID, to help deal with climate change, as well as just for other macroeconomic purposes. But with tighter financial conditions, the dollar rising pretty significantly, some of these countries are vulnerable, and they're vulnerable to a debt crisis. One of the biggest creditors out there is now China. That used to not be the case, but now it is. And China and other countries, as well as the private sector, work through these problems and work to find ways to actually have debt workouts or regimes that make a lot more sense for these countries. We're not sure it can work, but I think that there is hope that countries and private sector are working to do just that. So, while the headlines for international financial cooperation are still pretty bad, there are green shoots that we are seeing, and that is the area of finance and the area that the IIF hopes to exploit going forward. And I mean exploit in a very positive way. Our goal is to try to be in as many places as we can in Asia, to work through these problems throughout Asia and throughout the world. Thank you for having me, and do have a great rest of your conference, and we hope to see you soon in person.
Thank you, Mr. Clay Lowry. And Asian and international financial cooperation is being challenged in many aspects, but just as Mr. Clay mentioned that with sustainable finance and digital finance, there have been many potential opportunities. And now let's give the floor to Mr. Cui Yong, the VP of CCB, China Construction Bank.
Respected Vice Chairman Zhou Liang, President Liu Jin, and Vice Governor Mr. Xu, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good morning. It's my pleasure to participate in this forum on behalf of China Construction Bank and discuss with all the leaders, guests, experts, scholars, the new trend of RCEP. And from first day this year, RCEP officially took effect, marking the official landing of the global most populous, largest economic and trade scale and most potential free trade zone. Since RCEP took effect, the openness dividend has been continuously released. The positive effect on regional economic recovery is gradually emerging. In the future, the process of regional integration economically in Asia with RCEP as important content will deep stably. Asia economy participate in the formulation of international economic trade rules with more attitude with more active attitude, promote the construction of open world. Now, I'd like to put forward 3 suggestions from the perspective of China's construction bank. First, relying on the global network to serve regional economic and trade cooperation in depth, the implementation of RCEP, and we do see a great growth of these countries. According to the research, that by 2035, RCEP will drive the overall import and export and will reach up to $1 trillion, and the regional resilience and vitality will be significantly enhanced. As an international large commercial bank, CCB currently has nearly 200 overseas institutions at all levels, covering 31 countries and regions on 6 continents, including 8 RCEP member countries, including Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Japan, and Australia. At the same time, CCB has also established business contacts with more than 1,000 overseas peers around the world and built a global financial service network that spans time zones, currencies, and 24 hours a day. Since the launch of RCEP negotiations, CCB has always attached great importance to the early layout, comprehensively used the group's advantage, fully served and supported the regional economic and trade exchanges and industrial transformation, and upgrading of RCEP. By now, CCB supports 218 major overseas projects in 14 countries in RCEP, covering power, heat, gas storage, manufacturing, and other sectors, helping regional enterprises to deepen their local efforts, expand the international market. Secondly, adhere to the digital guidance to promote innovative development of regional trade finance. The effectiveness of RCEP greatly facilitates integrated development of industrial chain, supply chain of member states. CCB sees the opportunity of RCEP, keenly grasps the digital transformation of commercial banks, actively innovate supply chain financial supporting products, consolidate construction of digital trade infrastructure. And also, CCB took the lead, fully connecting with the single window of China's international trade, promote connectivity with single window of ASEAN, realizing the clearance facilitation, providing import-export enterprises with one-stop trading settlement. And the first railway bill of lading digital platform is applied in China-Europe Express, the new land and sea channel in the West, domestic rail freight and the rail water, intermodal transport, and other scenario, to build a modern comprehensive transportation. By using blockchain technology to innovate cross-border easy payment products, the time of funds to arrive at account has been shortened. The transaction efficiency has been improved. Now, cross-border easy payment products achieve the full coverage of national currency in RCEP, up to 400 billion yuan. CCB innovatively built the BC Trade Blockchain. The platform, nearly 80 domestic and foreign peers joined, becoming the first trillion-level blockchain trading platform in the industry. Thirdly, implement a new financial concept to enable regional economic connectivity. Facing the increasingly complex economic situation, the world and regional economic trade cooperation are eager to establish a new order of connectivity. As the pioneer in new finance, CCB continues carrying out actions characterized by science, technology, mutual benefit, and sharing, using the advantage of science and technology to create a scene-oriented and to facilitate regional economic exchange. By the end of 2019, CCB took the lead in launching the B2B cross-border intelligent matchmaking platform, Global Matchmaker, to provide business opportunities, intelligent precise matching, and comprehensive financial service solutions. Now the platform has over 230,000 registered users, half of whom are from RCEP region. The platform holds nearly 200 cross-border matchmaking activities for more than 16,000 enterprises in 34 countries and regions, including more than 70 cross-border matchmaking activities with governments and enterprises, investment promotion, rural revitalization, and organize over 70 matchmaking events and to help these companies to expand the markets to get new orders. It has been highly welcomed by the commercial business, and by the end of 2021, CCB innovated a CCB Global Peer e-home cooperation platform, providing overseas financial peers with comprehensive scenario services, information query, product promotion, business matching, information sharing, and others. Now, over 100 peer institutions registered for usage, including major financial institutions in RCEP. At present, the great changes that have not appeared in 100 years are accelerating the evolution, and the world economy lacks the impetus for recovery. The implementation and phase achievements of RCEP once again prove that openness and cooperation are still the mainstream of the international community and the only way for economic development. We will work with all parties to create a new platform of regional financial cooperation with new concepts and practice, make contribution to the high quality of regional economic development. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Cui, for your wonderful speech. By relying on your global network, you follow this digital guidance and to make contribution to the financial cooperation with innovative way. This is a very good experience. Thank you, Vice President Cui. Now I'd like to invite Chasri from President of Bangkok to make the next speech.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor for Bangkok Bank to be invited to share our view on the regional comprehensive economic partnership and how we think this critical agreement can help enhance and strengthen trade among participating countries. RCEP, which entered into force on the 1st of January 2022, was signed by Thailand and 14 other countries, including all ASEAN member states, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand on November 15, 2020. The agreement covers economic liberalization, trade in services and investment, and other areas of cooperation with the aim to link the economies of member countries. Overall, RCEP will cut 91% of tariff among participating countries. Many of these cuts will occur immediately in the agreement's first phase, while others will be gradually introduced over a span of up to 20 years. This agreement would cover 30% of the world's population, contribute about 30% of global GDP, and account for over a quarter of global trade in goods and services, and 31% of global FDI inflow, according to the World Bank. In January, Thai exporters sought certificates of country of origin for RCEP worth 278 million baht. Within February, this figure rose to 888 million baht, an increase of more than 300%. Japan was the top destination for RCEP-certified Thai exports in terms of value, followed by China and South Korea. Most of the exported goods were canned fish, canned vegetables, and textiles. Beyond this positive start, RCEP is expected to help Thailand gain more benefit from existing free trade agreement. For instance, nations with existing FTA with Thailand, namely China, Japan, and South Korea, have agreed to further reduce tariff for Thailand as part of the RCEP discussion. Thailand exports to this country are expected to rise as a result. Although agriculture and automotive products are exempt from tariff reduction in many member states, this accounts for only a few of the sectors where Thailand is positioned to gain from trade liberalization. Moreover, the agreements on intellectual property and e-commerce should help promote the growth of regional e-commerce trade, especially for the food, textile, and electronic industries. Beyond Thailand, ASEAN will benefit from RCEP as it helps broaden and deepen the association's engagement with FTA partners, including Australia, China, India, Japan, South Korea, and New Zealand. For example, Customs data shows that in the first quarter of this year, China's imports and exports to ASEAN reached $202 billion, an increase of about 8% year on year, accounting for 14% of China's total foreign trade. Vietnam is among the ASEAN members that will benefit the most from RCEP, according to the World Bank, which said that average trade-weighted tariff imposed by Vietnam should decline from 0.8% to 0.2%. In the most optimistic scenario, Vietnam's income level may increase by almost 5% from RCEP compared to other ASEAN countries, where the income level is likely to increase by 2.5% on average. As for Indonesia, this country will benefit from the RCEP in at least 3 ways: lower tariff rates for their exports, better access to cheaper or better quality inputs for making their products, and a more open and more transparent business environment for trade and goods, services, investment, and movement of people. This will help improve Indonesian companies' competitiveness. RCEP will help promote cooperation among member countries as it provides a framework for Asian countries to deal with issues beyond those already negotiated and encourages more interdependence. By deepening trade relations, countries in Southeast Asia can strengthen ties with other members: China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. This will help to bridge fractures between countries and build a firm basis for political confidence and trust. While we are still at the beginning of our journey with RCEP, we are confident the partnership will deliver positive results for Thailand, ASEAN, and all participating countries, while fostering a culture of cooperation based on mutual benefits for years to come. Thank you.
And Mr. Charisari shared from the perspective from ASEAN and Thailand. In terms of RCEP, I believe RCEP will bring more active contribution to the economic development. Now, I'd like to invite the Vice President of Export-Import Bank of China, Mr. Zhang Wencai, to make the next speech. The floor is yours. Distinguished guests, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to be invited to today's forum. On behalf of China Exim Bank, I wish to extend my heartfelt congratulations on the opening of this forum. RCEP is a comprehensive, modern, high-quality, mutually beneficial free trade agreement. Nearly a year of RCEP came into action. Regional economic trade rules have been improved. The rules of origin, custom procedures, and the technical standards have been adopted, and the market access for goods, services, and investment expanded. Cooperation in industrial division of labor among member countries become closer, and industrial supply and value chain in the region saw development, I'm sure, with RCEP dividends further unreleased. And there will be greater regional economic integration, stronger growth momentum. As a financial institution dedicated to supporting China's foreign trade, investment, and international economic cooperation, China Exim Bank has always regarded RCEP members as important countries for business expansion, have supported a large number of projects in areas such as economic and trade cooperation, infrastructure, livelihood, and green development, delivering good results. First, have provided diversified financial support. On the other hand, continue to increase credit support. At the end of October 2022, we have supported more than 1,400 projects in RCEP member states, with an outstanding loan balance of over 800 billion yuan. On the other hand, by taking full account of the different characteristic diversified financial needs of projects, we offered a variety of financial products tools in a flexible way, such as a trade finance equity investment guarantee.
And our bank also initiated the CEF, which supported 10 projects in 8 ASEAN countries, covering transportation, telecommunication, mining, energy, and medical services. The CEF second phase also got $1 billion, and we will mainly support the infrastructure, telecommunications, ICT in ASEAN countries. and also the Credit Guarantee and Investment Facility, that is CGIF, jointly initiated by China RCEP Bank, also has provided credit enhancement guarantee for bond issuing companies with a total number of exceeding 2.7 billion USD. Second, we have also paid equal attention to major projects and small yet beautiful projects, such as infrastructure and in industrial investment projects have been supported, such as the Malaysian China Kuantan Industrial Park, China Laws Railway, Strong Crouch Kema Bridge in Cambodia, and Bandung Expressway in Indonesia, Yangon International Airport in Myanmar. And these are the interplay of regional production factors. We also have resource integration and industrial convergence projects. We have supported projects to improve people's livelihood, for example, agriculture irrigation project, rural power grid construction project, agricultural waste utilization project. Third, we have ensured the stability and smooth functioning of regional industrial and supply chains. The pandemic resurgence and geopolitical tensions have affected the stability of regional industrial and supply chains, and there is the disruption. In this context, our bank has given full play to the role of capital flow in supporting the flow of goods. We have financed a number of export-oriented and trade facilitation infrastructures, such as railways, highways, aviation hubs, ports, and logistic parks, to ensure the smooth operation of key logistic hubs and routes, and to unclog the bottlenecks and reconnect the disrupted links in the chains. We have supported the construction of international economic and trade cooperation, facilitate cross-border flow of goods, and to keep industrial and supply chains smooth and stable. Fourth, we have provided strong support for green and sustainable development. We have financed a number of green, low-carbon sustainable projects. For instance, the Sorik Marapi geothermal power plant project in Indonesia. And this is a successful case. And in the construction of China Laws Railway, roads were replaced with bridges, and fences were set up to protect the environment and wild animals. By doing so, we helped minimize the impact of railway construction on the ecological environment along the road, and we built a railway that features harmonious coexistence between man and nature. Looking ahead, we are ready to leverage our advantages and contribute in this regard. First, we will focus on key areas to improve the quality and efficiency of financial support. The member countries have different resource endowments, and they are highly complementary. Based on the situation, we focus on key areas like the regional trade. During the 5th China Import-Expo event, CRIE, we announced that we would provide 200 billion yuan to expand imports from RCEP member countries and to promote regional economic trade cooperation. Another is to support regional investment cooperation. We make good use of negative list system, and we also promote facilitation of investment to help enterprises in equity participation, MA, making investment, building factories and R&D centers. We hope to support enterprises in bringing in and going global to give better play to the comparative advantages of each member state. Second, we'll combine financing with consulting services. We have been conducting overseas business for a long time. In addition to financial support, we also provide consulting services in terms of RCEP rules, country information, follow-up of implementation. We assist enterprises in market expansion, risk anticipation, operation, help them to use the dividends provided by RCEP. Third, we will deepen interbank cooperation and form synergy. This RCEP process of integration will generate financing needs. No institution can solve all the problems by itself. Therefore, we need to strengthen coordination, leverage our strengths. On the one hand, we'll strengthen information sharing, personnel exchange on macroeconomic industries. On the other hand, we will pour more financial resources by means of co-financing, syndicated loans, online lending, and third-party market cooperation in a bid to form synergy in providing financial support for regional economic development and trade. Since its establishment, the AFCA, adhering to the connectivity, cooperation, joint governance, and shared benefits, and has played a key role in pooling consensus, integrating regional resources, and building an information sharing platform. Our bank is ready to strengthen cooperation with AFCA, increase exchanges with all parties to contribute jointly to regional economic development. In conclusion, I wish this forum a complete success. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zhang, for your remarkable presentation. Just as Mr. Zhang mentioned that with the implementation and also the unleashing of a dividend of RCEP, the regional integration will be further improved and the driving force of RCEP will be further elevated. And now let's give the floor to the representative from Mizuho, Mr. Hidekatsu Take, Senior Executive Officer, Head of a Corporate Institutional Company.
My name is Hidekatsu Take, and I am the head of Mizuho Financial Group's global corporate company. 2 years ago, on November 15th, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, agreement was signed by 15 countries: China, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, all 10 ASEAN countries, and Japan. It became effective on January 1st this year. The RCEP, which covers 30% of global population, GDP, and trade, is one of the world's largest mega-free trade agreements. We see the RCEP as a catalyst for promoting the opening of markets and financial cooperation between member countries and regions. And we have high hopes for the unified growth of the regional economy. Until now, Japan did not have an economic partnership agreement, or EPA, with China or South Korea. But if you look at the breakdown of the amount of RCEP regional trade between the 15 participating countries, you will see there has been a rise in Japan-China trade in particular. The RCEP coming into effect means we can fill in the missing links in supply chains in the Asia-Pacific region, and the benefits will be felt outside of China and Japan as well. Regarding intellectual property and e-commerce, the RCEP provides 4 rules that go beyond WTO provisions, known as WTO Plus, and rules that are not covered by WTO provisions, known as WTO Extra. Increased regulation and the creation of common rules will lead to further progress in building supply chains that extend across the markets of the countries and regions in the RCEP bloc. And we can expect unified economic growth across the member countries. Next, I would like to speak about the direction of financial cooperation between participating countries. The RCEP's additional provisions concerning financial services are certainly to be welcomed by financial institutions and investors developing their business globally. While exceptions have been put in place, such as prudential measures to ensure the integrity and stability of each country's financial system, financial institutions providing financial services in another participating country will enjoy a number of benefits. These include approval of moving and processing of information across borders when deemed necessary for business purposes, provisions for national treatment upon participating in self-regulatory organizations for stock exchanges, and provisions for national treatment upon the use of settlement and clearing services for public entities. We have even greater expectations for the increasing and facilitation of regional investment and trade and the further development of trade finance, including digital transformation, which can be expected from the easing of various restrictions in the areas of trade, investment, and e-commerce. It is necessary for relevant authorities and financial institutions in each country to collaborate or partner in the area of further trade finance digitalization and improved efficiency through creating a structure that is convenient for market participants and that leads to financial cooperation and an expansion of trade and investment. However, there are a number of issues that stand in the way of experiencing the potential benefits of RCEP. The first is that it is necessary for each participating country to carry out their obligations in full. Since there are provisions under RCEP that widely recognize the discretion of each participating country, there is a need to monitor and evaluate the situation. Secondly, the RCEP is a living agreement, and so the current conditions of the agreement are not unchangeable. It is expected that the agreement will develop over time through discussions at the RCEP Joint Committee and RCEP intersessional ministerial meetings. As such, it is extremely important that participating countries continually support one another in order to increase the effectiveness of the agreement and to see the agreement result in unified economic growth across the whole region. Mizuho Financial Group, as one of Japan's three largest financial groups, are focusing on expanding business in the RCEP participating countries where we have offices, especially in China. We are in particular supporting on building a global supply chain for our clients and providing related fund settlement and other financial support. Before I became the head of the global corporate company, I was stationed in Singapore, where I was responsible for the Asia and Oceania region, excluding East Asia. I'd like to take this RCEP agreement as an opportunity to further strengthen cooperation between the East Asian countries of China, South Korea, and Japan, countries in the Oceania region, and the ASEAN member states. I would also like to reiterate our commitment to the unified economic growth of the participating countries. The improvement of e-commerce, intellectual property rights, transactions, and monetary policy, and partnerships between countries for digital transformation development are extremely important, not only for the economies of the RCEP participating nations, but also for the global economy's stable and sustainable growth. I will conclude my remarks here. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Taka. You mentioned about the missing link of the supply chain, and RCEP will become a new opportunity and driver for the regional integration. Thank you, Mr. Taka. And now we would like to give the floor to the Managing Director and the Chief Economist of DBS Bank, Mr. Embark, to deliver a speech.
Greetings from Singapore. I'm Taimur Baig, Chief Economist of DBS Bank. I'm also the Director Fellow of Asian Financial Think Tank, which is under the Asian Financial Cooperation Association. I wish the participants and organizers of the Annual Conference of Financial Street Forum 2022 a very successful event. Global trade's best years were more than a decade ago. The momentum lost during the 2008-2009 financial crisis never really recovered. But a large number of trade restrictions notwithstanding, Asian economies have entrenched their position as the key source of goods and services trade in the world. As movement and storage of data become a key part of the global economic landscape, Asia's role in relevant rule setting it's also becoming more central. Media headlines about elevated energy prices, Fed policy, and US legislative agenda, as well as geopolitics, are probably obscuring the steady improvement in regional trade rules in Asia. The landmark Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership is heading toward implementation, with 13 out of 15 member countries completing the process or entering the final stage. RCEP has made good progress, covering 10 ASEAN economies, as well as Australia, China, Japan, New Zealand, and South Korea, with a market of 2.2 billion people and GDP of almost $26 trillion. RCEP will be transformative in its impact on regional well-being. We're sure about that. Now, RCEP is well known, but the Digital Economy Partnership Agreement, DEPA, is less so. Signed in mid-2020 by Chile, New Zealand, and Singapore, DEPA aims to build consistency in approaches to the digital economy. From paperless trading to artificial intelligence, the agreement addresses a wide range of activities in the digital space. DEPA could help build new free trade agreements or upgrade existing free trade exercises. The submission of China's application to join DEPA back in late 2021 is likely to shine a strong light on the agreement. China has major interest in DEPA-linked issues like electronic payments, personal data protection, digital identities, online consumer protection, fintech, and open government data. An agreement between three open economies is one thing, but having China apply for accession is an entirely different matter. China's massive scale, broad regulatory reach, restrictions on cross-border movement of capital or data could make it somewhat hard for it to be incorporated in DEPA. Nonetheless, China's push in this area should be seen in a very positive light, as it can only help reduce the prevailing inconsistent, contradictory, or incompatible policies governing the global digital economy. So what is the latest on DEPA? Well, in August of this year, the DEPA Joint Committee agreed to formally commence the accession process for China. To do so, the Joint Committee has established an accession working group, AWG, which will be chaired by Chile. The group will examine China's accession request, conduct discussions on its ability to comply to the standards and commitments of DEPA, and submit a report to the Joint Committee on the proposed terms and conditions of China's accession. Here in Singapore, we welcome China's application to join DEPA. The AWG, comprising of government representatives from each DEPA party, will discuss the accession of the aspirant economy. The Chinese economy and the government would be required to demonstrate to the AWG its ability to meet the DEPA obligations, including any additional changes to its domestic laws and regulations that would be required. Moving on from China, we expect Vietnam to be a key beneficiary within ASEAN as far as RCEP is concerned. Goods tariff reduction is a key benefit under RCEP, which will see 90% of the goods traded eventually achieve zero tariff over a 20-year implementation period. Studies quantifying the impact through a terms of trade gain see a positive impact on RCEP members' annual incomes by 2030. Gains are likely to be modest for many ASEAN member economies, given existing bilateral free trade agreements and already rather low tariffs for intra-RCEP trade. Vietnam's average effectively applied tariffs on intra-RCEP trade are in the middle of the pack at about 1.2%. This is according to UNCTAD calculations. These compare to higher levels for South Korea at 4.8% and China at 2.8%. Nevertheless, Vietnam is among the ASEAN economies likely to benefit from tariff reduction, given its high trade openness. Vietnam's gains would be lesser than that experienced by North Asian peers, with Japan not having bilateral agreements with China and South Korea prior to the RCEP. Under RCEP, the streamlined and single rule of origins for all goods traded across member countries, coupled with simplified customs procedures, will likely advance the efficiency and regionalization of supply chains and help boost market access in an already well-integrated region. RCEP streamlines differing rules of origins in different FTAs that ASEAN have with other RCEP partner countries. Products can be traded among RCEP countries with single certificate of origin and enjoy preferential advantages as long as 40% value added are produced within the border of those countries. This should propel the existing trend of increasing foreign direct investment in the region, as investors look to tap on the benefits and use ASEAN as a manufacturing production base. 6 ASEAN economies have received increasing FDI inflows over the past couple of years, rivaling that of China. Even though Singapore continues to receive the lion's share of FDI flows, inflows into Vietnam have been trending higher and have ranked among the top 3 recipients within the ASEAN 6 countries. We think that Vietnam continues to boast multiple advantages to attract foreign investors. Trade integration between Vietnam and the RCEP members is already high and should grow tighter as companies tap RCEP benefits. Vietnam imports a significant amount of goods from RCEP partners. In contrast, Vietnam's export share to RCEP partners, while still high at 40%, has been declining over the years. US, which is Vietnam's single largest trading partner currently, has taken RCEP's market share, rising to almost 30% of Vietnam's total exports. China has been growing in importance for the region, which is also the case for Vietnam when we look into its group trade breakdown with RCEP members. Vietnam has been shipping a rising share of Chinese imports over the years, rising to a high of 33% of the total in 2021, while that of South Korea, the rest of ASEAN, and Japan have fallen. Vietnam imports several key products from China, such as textile, garment, and footwear, electronics, and machinery and transport equipment. China is somewhat dependent on Vietnam in 2 key product areas, also textile, garment, and footwear, and electronics. This tells you the intricacy of the supply chain in the region. With the RCEP agreement, Vietnamese products made from Chinese inputs can potentially increase trade. For instance, Vietnamese textile, garment, and footwear made from Chinese materials can enjoy favorable tariffs when shipped to Japan. Electronics is another area where China and emerging players like Vietnam are set to benefit from RCEP's trade facilitation, given an increasingly integrated regional electronic supply chain seen from their trade dynamics. Vietnam's domestic firms participate in RCEP can offer opportunities to raise their exports and be more active in regional value chains. If these companies can gain access to cheaper inputs and adapt to increased competition, it will be a win-win. Another example of potential benefit is Thailand. As RCEP comes into effect, Thailand will see tariffs on nearly 30,000 commodities it exports to other member economies reduced to 0. This would enhance substantially its trade development among RCEP member states, which already purchases a majority of Thai exports. For all their promises, trade agreements are no panacea. Detailed, good faith implementation and a spirit of cooperation are what make trade agreements work. We look forward to an era where gains from trade continue to be recognized, paving the way for a world of mutual cooperation and benefit. I wish all of you very well, good health, and good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Timmerbeck. Thank you for your sharing. Just like you mentioned, a specific and goodwill spirit is very important for a agreement put into effectiveness. And no coffee break is provided, but in the hall we have provided coffee and tea and hot water if you need, and you can have some refreshment outside. And now we move to our roundtable discussion. And in this roundtable, it is entitled RCEP and the Asian Financial Infrastructure Connectivity. In this session, I'd like to invite Mr. Guan Tao, who will be the chair of this session, Chief Economist and Managing Director. And please help to set up the stage. And thank you, Secretary General. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And this morning, and we have 10 keynote speakers give us the presentation speeches. And they talked about implementation progress and updates of RCEP and look into the future. And in the session, we are going to have a round table. And my name is Guan Tao. And today, we are going to discuss RCEP and Asia financial infrastructure connectivity. We know that the financial infrastructure as a bridge connecting the financial institutions, and this is a technical guarantee. And with the implementation of RCEP, which will drive intra-countries reshape an industrial chain to create a big potential for the demand of capitals alone, to promote the connectivity of the financial infrastructures, and to meet the financial needs such as cross-border merger and acquisition. In this session, we have 8 speakers in the discussion. Due to COVID-19 measures, some of them join us online. We have 3 speakers joining us offline. The first one is the Chief Economist of China Export and Credit Insurance Corporation, and Mr. Wang Wen. And thank you, Chief Mr. Guan Tao, and the distinguished guests, dear leaders, experts, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And it's my great honor to make a report to you about our research findings. And there are 3 parts I want to share with you my ideas in terms of RCEP and the Asia financial infrastructure connectivity. First of all, the significance of RCEP. Just like you mentioned, on January the 1st, 2022, the RCEP came into effect, the largest and the most influential free trade agreement worldwide. And it really connects between 10 ASEAN countries and China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand, unified existing economic and trade rules in the region, reduced tariff and non-tariff barriers, established an open regional market, and promote the process of Asia-Pacific regional integration. According to the World Bank's forecast, by reducing tariff and non-tariff measures, according to RCEP-related provisions, by 2035, the actual national income of RCEP members will increase by 0.21% and GDP increase by 0.17%. If the common rules of origin are implemented, the real national income of RCEP members up by 0.5%, real GDP up by 0.3%. General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized the need to implement RCEP at a high level, which is conducive to China's unswerving promotion of high-level opening, speeding up the construction of a new development pattern in which the domestic big circle is the main body, and the domestic and international double circles promote each other, constantly stabilizing and strengthening the industrial chain supply chain. And now I want to talk about openness and cooperation within financial sector is a feature of RCEP. RCEP not only covers the traditional market access, such as goods, service, investment, but also reaches a high level of intellectual property rights and e-commerce cooperation terms in the region for the first time, adding new and hot issues on the framework of free trade such as competition, small medium-sized enterprises, and trade remedy. Among them, the financial attachment in the service trade is a highlight in RCEP, representing the highest commitment level of most members in the region in the financial field. RCEP has set financial rules as financial access according to WTO framework, but it has made a big breakthrough in the content of the rules. The new financial service clauses, the commitment to improve the regulatory transparency in financial service, the financial information transfer and processing, and other rules covered basically represent the highest regulation of China's financial service rules in the FTA. Incorporating China's latest domestic opening commitments into the legal framework of international free trade agreements will greatly promote development and cooperation of ASEAN member countries in the field of financial services.
And now, together with other member states, especially ASEAN member states, we have carried out the following three aspects cooperation. The first is monetary cooperation. As a key part of the Qingmai Agreement since 2008, China has established bilateral local currency swap agreements and bilateral settlement agreements with central banks of ASEAN countries, Japan, SK, Australia, New Zealand, other countries. As of 2021, the year end, we have actually reached the scale of 4 trillion RMB according to the agreement. The establishment of original foreign exchange reserves and the signing of bilateral currency swap agreements can strengthen the ability to resist abnormal capital flows and also make much stronger the exchange rate stability and the financial safety net. The second is financial market cooperation. And the financial cooperation includes financial institution cooperation, regional bond market, and regional mobile payment cooperation under the BRI. Since the BRI was proposed by President Xi in 2013, China has established multilateral financial institutions such as ARIB, the Silk Road Fund, and further strengthened the financial communication with ASEAN countries in RCEP. So as the first multilateral reserve cooperation mechanism in the AP region, the establishment of the Asian Bond Fund is committed to promoting the development of regional and national bond markets, further improving the bond market and financial stability in the region. Third, financial supervision and cooperation. Since 2004, China has signed bilateral MOU on banking supervision, cooperation, and securities supervision agreements with financial regulators of RCEP members such as Singapore, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Cambodia. In insurance, China initiated and signed the Beijing Declaration on Regional Insurance Supervision Cooperation in 2005. ASEAN countries, Japan, SK, and other countries unanimously adopted such a declaration. And also, I would like to talk about the future trend and recommendations. RCEP's financial rules create a fairer, more open, stable, and transparent competitive environment for all the financial service providers on the premise of maintaining financial stability and preventing financial risks. This high-level institutional arrangement and commitment for openness are conducive to mobilizing financial resources in the AP region. Going forward, the direction of cooperation in financial infrastructure can include the following aspects. First, strengthen top-level design of financial supervision, uphold the basic principles of inclusiveness, openness, and seeking common ground while resolving differences. The supervision cooperation should build a unified supervision and cooperation system, establish a unified financial supervision organization, formulate common financial supervision standards, and to provide strong guarantee for the supervision and cooperation. What needs attention is the development level, scale, and economic system among the members are not consistent, and the degree and stage of financial development are also quite different. Therefore, while promoting the cooperation, RCEP adheres to the principle of inclusiveness, openness, and seeking common ground while resolving differences. RCEP can strengthen the top-level design of financial regulatory framework, not only putting forward the overall framework of regulatory cooperation, but also taking into the account of the differences of financial levels of different member states through the transition period and transition clauses. And for the higher financial development level, we should also take cooperation mode and regulatory cooperation paths. We can explore in this aspect. And now the number of small and medium-sized companies in China has exceeded 30 million. SME are generating more than 55% of tax revenues, contributing more than 60% of GDP, developed 70% of technological innovation, absorbed 80% of urban labor and employment, and occupy 99% of the market. SMEs are also very important, and the cooperation of financial institutions can improve the credit environment in the region. So among the 14 member countries in RCEP, 8 of them have set up 11 ECAs in various forms, and there are 3 in China. And China CRIC is one of them. We also have one in Hong Kong and one in Taipei. So the 11 ECAs are mostly the members of a Bernie Association, and 3 ECAs in 3 countries have signed cooperation documents such as MOU with China Credit Insurance. In the future, CRIC will continue to capitalize on the credit insurance in the integration. Finally, we need to strengthen digital financial infrastructure cooperation and improve the efficiency of resource circulation. So the information and communication technology progress and also currency digitalization has become a new trend of cross-border transactions. All countries also have great need for the digital economy. With RCEP being signed, the digital financial cooperation will have broad prospects. For example, the electronic remittance loans, investment insurance, blockchain technology, they will all become key parts of RCEP financial infrastructure cooperation. To strengthen cooperation, we should speed up the expansion and the new mechanism of financial cooperation, pragmatic cooperation in cross-border investment financing, mutual establishment of financial institutions, and green finance and financial information. So we need to promote the co-construction and sharing of digital financial infrastructure. This is quite significant for us to expand and promote the cooperative space and to jointly deal with the major challenges. And for the high-quality development of RCEP and BRI, these recommendations are also very important. Lastly, I would like to thank you for your long-term support for CRIC, and thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wang. Mr. Wang shared with us on 3 fronts about his observations of RCEP and its significance of RCEP and the financial cooperation's highlights under the framework, and also the future trends and recommendations as well. He also mentioned how financial sector should serve the SME, the credit policy, and how to promote the regional cooperation. Thank you, Mr. Wang, for your sharing. And the second speaker will be Mr. Timo Malikov, head of the Rep Office of Astana International Financial Center Authority in Beijing. Welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very glad to be here today and participate in such interesting discussion. And let me start. We all believe that financial integration promises higher economic growth and better allocation of risks. Countries' financial sectors are a major factor in determining their growth performance. Throughout the world, countries that have particularly dynamic financial markets have also tended to do particularly well in terms of economic growth since early 90s. Financial integration, however, also entails new risks. Integrated financial markets allow shocks to spread across borders much more rapidly than in the past. Furthermore, the integration process itself involves a number of transition risks. Integration may also introduce risks that are not yet known, as cross-border operations increase the complexity of financial institutions, organizations, and the difficulty of monitoring their activities. Policymakers and regulators are responding to these changing risks. There has already been notable progress in adjusting regulation and supervision to the blurring boundaries between banking, insurance, and securities. However, more work is needed in the area of crisis prevention and management. There are still no commonly accepted standards for remedial action against financial organizations facing problems or a potential crisis, and in their absence, countries cannot be confident about what action other countries will take. Convergence in this area is important because both countries and financial institutions need to be sure that the cost of a potential crisis will be limited as much as possible through timely intervention based on clear criteria. There also needs to be more convergence and cooperation in the supervision of large cross-border financial groups. More routine and centralized sharing of information between national supervisors is an essential first step in this. Finally, the integration of equity market infrastructures, such as clearing and settlement systems, remains incomplete. A combination of market-based and public policy initiatives is needed to encourage capital market development. Here I see many opportunities for the financial centers, well-connected regional cities with a deeply integrated financial market that can provide the right regulation and easy access to capital. The role of financial clusters will grow as we will move forward. Emerging economies will clearly benefit if we can create a liquid market that would allow the use of financial instruments. One also has to keep in mind that alternative investment vehicles also pose new challenges. Certainly, the limited amount of timely information available about alternative investments complicates the monitoring of the activities and calls for investors and counterparties to exert rigorous market discipline and seek more transparency. As the structure of markets changes, supervisors may need to adapt the framework of supervision to maintain protection against systemic risk. In fact, the framework of RCEP covers further financial integration for a variety of diverse financial centers on a global scale. Yet it is important to factor into the level of transparency, accountability, and efficiency. The importance of a knowledge-based approach as well as a dynamic outlook sets the true values that are to be included in the policy framework of state financial centers. Given the importance of RCEP for greater development of regional market and the demand for a sound multi-level platform, investors can leverage existing international platforms with a range of financial and knowledge tools to further position themselves for success. Kazakhstan is not a part of RCEP, but our financial centers still can help address the financial needs of the projects and further facilitate the diversification of investment and flow of capital. AFC's existing strong network and close collaboration with multilateral institutions strengthen its relevance and competitive advantage. AFC, with its infrastructure, spatial, legal, and regulatory regimes, and efficient global networking, to name a few, can further enhance the level of expertise along with attracting a greater investment rate. As many of you already know, AFC was established in 2016 as a financial and investment hub in the region of Central Asia. And the main idea of our center was to promote financial infrastructure connectivity to ensure the access of local businesses to professional financial services. We have focused on creating favorable conditions for financial services providers from abroad, and this work brings results. At AFC, we have created a fully functional set of institutions to develop the financial sector and facilitate investment into the region. We believe that win-win solution can only come with the best business and investment climate, which consists of several elements: independent financial regulation, a transparent legal regime based on the best international practices, world-class trading infrastructure, tax benefit, spatial currency, visa and labor regime, and access to the local and regional markets. As a result, we had the China Development Bank to open its first Central Asia representative office in our jurisdiction, and full-fledged China Construction Bank's branch as well. Right now, these financial institutions, as well as many others, serve more than 1,600 companies registered in AFC and 150 Chinese companies among them. We created our stock exchange, Astana International Exchange, which partners with Shanghai Stock Exchange and Silk Road Fund. We have established AX Belt and Road Market segment to allow BRI and regional projects to raise funds via our exchange. AIX already hosted the first listing of RMB-nominated bonds issued by the China Construction Bank in Kazakhstan. The total amount of listing was 1 billion RMB. And the last one, the current step we are working on is that we are working on creating of offshore RMB market at the AX and connecting our market to the financial market of China, allowing access to post-trade activities on both sides, allowing seamlessly raising funds in RMB. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Timur, who just shared with us under RCEP how to cultivate a financial center to mitigate financial risks and to improve financial services, as well as his view on the internationalization of RMB. Thank you for your sharing. The third speaker is Mr. E Zhihuan, Chief Economist of the Bank of China, Hong Kong Limited. The floor is yours. Oh, okay. She talks online. So is the voice on? I think she is talking now. We see her image on the screen. Sorry. And we are going to invite the fourth speaker, that is Vice President Mr. Dong Lujun, Insurance Association of China, to give us the next speech. Dear guests, dear colleagues, friends, hello, and thank you for the invitation. Of the CPC. We should use openness to ease the difficult RCEP promotes trade growth and in a rapid trend. Positive effect of China's trading goods and services with RCEP members, as well as overseas investment cross-border development are emerging. respectively. The total trade between China and ASEAN is 5.23 to 6 trillion yuan, accounting for 15.2% of the total foreign trade volume. Among them, the export to ASEAN was 3.03 trillion yuan, up by 22.7%. Imports from ASEAN reached 2.2 trillion yuan, an increase of 7.5%. RCEP member countries will be 12.07 trillion yuan, accounting for 30.9% of China's total foreign trade value. From January to October this year, imports-exports to 14 member states maintained strong growth of 8.4%. The members of RCEP act in consent to promote regional economic growth. The dividend of regional economic growth continued to increase. Secondly, injects a new momentum to cross-border e-commerce and Silk Road e-commerce cooperation. There are many clauses in RCEP, encouraging development of cross-border e-commerce, improving the dispute resolution mechanism of e-commerce, bringing about the improvement of cross-border e-commerce logistic efficiency in the region. With the signing and entry into force of RCEP, the cross-border e-commerce market in the region will gradually shift from casual growth to standardized development, from a close ecological chain and service chain around cross-border e-commerce. And by statistics from 2017 to 2021, the scale of China's cross-border e-commerce market grew from 8.06 trillion yuan to 14.2 trillion yuan, increased by 76%. In the first half this year, cross-border e-commerce transactions accounted for 35.9% of China's total import and export volume of goods trade. And the market size reached 7.1 trillion yuan, a year-on-year growth of 28.6%. It is estimated that the market size will reach 15.7 trillion yuan in 2022. The import and export volume of cross-border e-commerce increased rather than decreased during the COVID-19, becoming an important force to stabilize the foreign trade. According to preliminary statistics in this year, Double 11, the turnover of the whole network was 557.1 billion yuan, and a decrease of 408 billion yuan among them. And even though we have uncertain factors such as international situation and repeated COVID-19, it shows that the vitality of China's consumption and the resilience of its economy. According to the data of State Postal Administration, from November the 1st to 11th, the National Postal Express Enterprises handled a total of 4.272 billion packages. On Double 11, 552 million express parcels were processed. Worth noting that the new trading model not only enabled niche and local products into the chain, but also enhanced the value. And the service outside the trade benefits thousands of households and continue to expand with market demand. Both cross-border e-commerce imports driven by consumption upgrade and cross-border e-commerce exports driven by global sales of manufacturing are important areas encouraged by the national policy. For most insurance company cross-border transaction, direct entry into e-commerce insurance, there are many new products, and such as cross-border e-commerce ecological insurance. Southeast Asia countries actively lay out e-commerce markets. Southeast Asia, very young place with high-quality population, create a demographic dividend for its market. In the past 5 years, Southeast Asia is one of the regions with the fastest growth. Compared with mature markets in the US, EU, and other countries, the huge population base, convergent consumer demand, high internet penetration, and a fast-growing economy in Southeast Asia all built important foundation for e-commerce development in Southeast Asia. And thirdly, the coordinated development of RCEP and the co-construction of Belt and Road. And most RCEP members are important node countries of the 21st century maritime Silk Road. BRI and RCEP complement each other and help each other in promoting regional economic development. As a milestone, RCEP plays an important role. It is highly inclusive and open. It is a new model of cross-regional and cultural cooperation. BRI plays an important role in promoting infrastructure construction and meet the practical needs of emerging markets and developing countries. RCEP and the Belt and Road have certain complementary functions. Since this year, trade and investment among RCEP member countries have grown steadily. Trade and investment facilitation and trade in services have made faster progress and attracting more countries and enterprises. And the promotion to promote the expansion of BRI Circle of Friends. From January to October this year, against the COVID-19, tense geopolitical situations and sluggish world economy, China's trade with countries along BRI has risen against the trend. Import-export up by 20.9%. In the future, coordinated development of RCEP and BRI will strongly promote regional coordinated and balanced development and have a new pattern. The second part I want to share with you is RCEP promotes a higher level of openness in the insurance industry of member countries. For the first time, RCEP introduced a new financial service, self-regulation, financial information transfer, and in RCEP, a unified rule is adopted, and that is a high-level commitment with higher transparency. But also to ensure the flexibility, on one hand, promote the system, but also to provide policy and regulatory space for the instability of the financial system. Now, the policy by the countries in RCEP to open the banking and insurance sector, we want to say the following aspects. Foreign shareholding ratio in China, openness of China's financial industry, important link in the process of China's reform opening up. And China's financial industry has been expanding its level. And as the vanguard of the opening up of financial industry, insurance sectors has gradually changed from limited scope to a all-around opening. And the restrictions on the promotion, the restriction on the proportion of foreign shares were steadily opened. And the China Banking Insurance Regulatory Commission started this administration from September the 1st.
And there is the upper limit on the proportion of foreign insurance companies holding shares in insurance asset management companies will no longer be restricted. And the shareholder qualification conditions uniformly applicable to domestic and foreign shareholders will be set. This means that China has basically eliminated the threshold and other barriers. The Philippines has also removed such restrictions, and also there is within its territory, the Philippines required that the shareholder ratio would not exceed 51%, and also the restrictions on the shareholding ratio of foreign capital in establishing and investing in reinsurance companies within its territory not to exceed 40%. And now Malaysia has also removed the restriction of foreign capital may not hold more than 20% of shares of local banks. And also in Beijing and Shanghai, the market share of foreign insurance companies has reached 20%. Indonesia has lifted restrictions on the number of licenses and total assets foreign capital to carry out life insurance, property insurance, and Myanmar, Laos, and Australia have also cancelled certain barriers. We can see that the further relaxation of the above market access and the further unification of technical standards have brought new opportunities. In 2021, the capital of foreign-funded insurance companies in China increased 1.3 times, and their assets increased 6 times in a decade. Overseas insurance institutions have set up 67 foreign-funded insurance companies and 80 rep offices in China. So the cooperation of all parties will enhance the confidence in the region and unleash the vitality in the region. And the third aspect, RCEP promotes the interconnection of financial infrastructure of member countries. The signing of RCEP makes economic cooperation, trade, investment more convenient. On the day when the agreement came into force, the immediate zero tariff ratio of goods trade between China and ASEAN, Australia, and New Zealand exceeded 65%. Implementation of the agreement will further promote the flow of goods, technology, services, and capital in the region, and promote the integration and restructuring of the industrial chains, supply chains, value chains. On the basis of optimizing the structure, it will further expand its service and partners for cross-border finance, and role of capital elements in resource allocation will be fully played. And another aspect is the rules and regulations openness on good trade, service trade, investment, IPR, e-commerce, and there are huge differences among different member states. So the openness, transparency should be upheld, and dynamic follow-up should be stick to, so that we can also implement the policies and to stick to the multilateralism in the region. And in January 2022, 6 departments, including MOFCOM, NDRC, MIIT, PBOC, and general administration of customers and general administration of market supervision have issued the guiding opinions on the high-quality implementation of RCEP and issued 30 measures to implement in this area. In accelerating the construction of basic technical support for digital new infrastructure, we have seen that the Shanghai Insurance Exchange is a key insurance infrastructure directly managed by the CBIRC. It has built insurance, reinsurance, insurance asset management to provide the medium service and also the reinsurance service. It can provide basic public services such as technology, systems, rules, and standards for insurance. It can also give play to the scale effect and agglomeration effect of the unified market to facilitate the transaction cost reduction and efficiency improvement. It has provided infrastructure services to support the interconnection between the insurance and other financial industries. And RCEP has high requirement for risk management. And we have adopted the financial risk rules, and such rules will expand foreign investment and also raise the further requirements for domestic supervision. So while providing conveniences for the management, there is also high requirement for the digital management. So at operation level, we need to focus about how to consider about the operation and also the risk prevention. In terms of supervision, we need to study about the role and coordination of government enterprises. Government should be highly efficient, and the corporate citizens should also have the awareness of the rule of law, and there should be a just, equitable marketplace, which is quite important, which needs all countries to further explore and strengthen the convergence of international insurance supervision and to further improve the mechanism building within the RCEP system to promote anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing, cross-border capital flow, anti-financial fraud, and environmental social risks, etc., and to safeguard the market and social stability. And now the market of insurance has become the frontier for the application of technologies of fintech. Digital technology has been infiltrating in all aspects in marketing and pricing and compensation, user experience, etc., while promoting the high-quality transaction. The fintech has also brought technological and economic risks, which are affecting the repayment ability and market credibility. And therefore, the member states are improving the rules and regulations in fintech, and the financial risk management requirement is more stringent. And also, according to the standardization of finance in the 14th five-year plan, there has been specific requirement for the standardization of network security and fintech. So we need also to strengthen the talented people cooperation. We need to encourage interconnection of high-caliber talents and strengthen the education institutions cooperation, and to promote the international competitiveness of Asian insurance. We also need to implement the basic responsibilities of self-discipline, rights safeguarding, service communication, and publicity. We need to work with our counterparts efficiently and precisely promote the economic and service cooperation within RCEP and build diversified relations and build new patterns in the new era. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dong. You have shared with us in 3 aspects about the impact of RCEP and also how to promote the infrastructure interconnectivity among member states. And the next one will be Zheng Zhengsheng, the Chief Economist of Ping An Securities. Welcome. So please control your time within 7 minutes. Dear colleagues, I'm very honored to attend this forum. It's a regret for me that I am being quarantined, and I have received an announcement for releasing me from the quarantine period. And today I will share with you about this regional economic integration. So President Xi mentioned that reform and opening up has been a basic state policy. And for RCEP, we also have REPF, and this RCEP is also a challenge for China, and China will continue to integrate itself into the global market. And we need to consider about transition into a deeper level regional integration. So while we are building this dual circulation scheme, we need to expand the boundaries of cooperation, strengthen scientific talent, capital, technology, flow, and exchange, and also to strengthen China's role in the regional cooperation. As many experts mentioned that RCEP has expanded the cooperation areas, the integration process is accelerating. Among the 15 member states, we have 13 member states who have made the agreement effective, and our trade volume has also increased by 65%, and also the zero tariff trade between China and Japan, China and South Korea have also increased significantly. And the RCEP is favorable for regional development. The comparative advantage of SK is in mechanical manufacturing, optical manufacturing, and heavy industry. And RCEP's strength lies in food, beverages, resource-intensive and labor-intensive industries. And other countries have a lot of resources, and China also have some comparative advantages in high-end manufacturing. So in the future, with Australia and New Zealand, China is quite complementary with Australia and New Zealand, with other ASEAN countries and SK. So within this RCEP framework, China's garment industry, automobile industry, parts and components, and export businesses will be highly complementary with SK. And there will be new opportunities for SK, and this year marks the first year for RCEP to be effective. We have seen the policy dividends. RCEP has significantly promoted regional cooperation. According to Marcom's opinions regarding RCEP's implementation, in the first half of this year, most of the member states have seen double-digit growth in the regional trade. From January to September, China, SK, Japan, Thailand, New Zealand have also seen significant increase in regional trade. RCEP has also decreased the trade cost. After the half year after RCEP has been effective, we have issued 260,000 certificates for origins of export, and we have saved 520 million yuan of customers' tariffs. And also RCEP has played more role in export support. Given the COVID-19 resurgence and also the disruptions of export, there has been downward pressure on China's export. In October, we have seen a negative growth of export. And within the RCEP economies, we have seen RCEP's role in supporting the trade. In the first 5 months, we have seen 8.4% of regional trade, and China's trade with ASEAN has increased by 14%. And also in stabilizing foreign investment, RCEP is also playing a big role. In the first 10 months of this year, SK Japan's foreign investment in China has increased by 100% and 36% respectively. HSBC also carried out about survey among 3,000 enterprises. 78% of ASEAN enterprises are planning to expand their supply chain in China. Among the interviewees in ASEAN countries, 98% of countries believe that RCEP is quite positive for contributing to the regional economic growth. To put it simply, as the first year of RCEP, in the future RCEP will fly and take off. Okay, thank you. So you have made a very good presentation, and you have chosen a very good topic, and you shared with us from 4 aspects about the progress of RCEP's implementation and its important role in promoting regional integration. And the next one will be Mr. Ye Zhihui. So good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to attend this FSM forum and to have this opportunity to discuss about the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement and interconnection of Asian financial infrastructure with all of you. So RCEP agreement came into effect on January the 1st, 2022. For Malaysia, it came into effect on March 18th this year. RCEP is an opportunity because it is the largest FTA in the world, and the GDP and population in this region account for 30% of the world. Commodity trade accounts for 27%, service trade 18%, and foreign FDI accounts for 19% of the world. So among them, ASEAN is the very important region according to the foreign trade import and export data released by the General Administration of Customs of China. In 2021, China's import and export to ASEAN amounted to 5.67 trillion yuan, exceeding 5 trillion yuan for the first time, an increase of 19.7% over 2020, accounting for 14.5% of China's total import-export value, ranking firmly as China's largest trading partner. In 2021, the import and export values of China to 8 ASEAN countries, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, Cambodia, Laos, and Brunei, were 1.49 trillion, 1.1 trillion, 847 trillion, 803 billion, 530 billion, etc., respectively.
In the next 10 to 20 years, 2022 is the first year for RCEP to take effect. In the past 10 months, RCEP has continuously released trade dividends. According to the data released by the GACC, the first 10 months of this year, ASEAN remained the largest trading partner of China, and the total trade volume between China and ASEAN was 5.26 trillion yuan, an increase of 15.8%, accounting for 15.2% of the total volume of China. Malaysia and China maintained friendly relations for many years, and this year marks the 48th anniversary of the diplomatic establishment between the two countries. Malaysia is the 9th largest trading partner of China, continues to play an important role in China's economic exchanges with the world. Since 2009, China has been Malaysia's largest trading partner for 13 consecutive years. In 2021, trade with China accounted for 19% of Malaysia's total trade, with a value of 421 billion ringgit, with a total growth of 27%. And in 2021, the total export volume was ringgit 192 billion, highest by far, while the total import volume was 229 billion ringgit. Compared with the same time in 2021, Malaysia's trade with China was up by 19.2% to ringgit 316.72 billion in the first 8 months of 2022. Exports increased by 14.2% to ringgit 135. And imports from China also up by 23.2% to ringgit 181.36 billion. When China took the lead in proposing the Belt and Road Initiative cooperation in 2013, ASEAN countries were the earliest supporters of BRI. We also see that since BRI was put forward, China's direct investment in the construction project in ASEAN countries were up by 85%. Malaysia will benefit from the recovery of BRI, which stagnated during COVID-19. When RCEP is launched, Malaysia will benefit from export trade, including oil and gas, tourism, and investment. And we know that Bank of Malaysia Limited was established in May 1960. And we know that Malay Bank, established in May 1960, is a comprehensive financial group operating commercial banks, investment banks, insurance, securities, asset management, trust, Islamic banking, and other business sectors, headquartered in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is the largest bank in Malaysia and the largest listed company on the Malaysian Stock Exchange now. Bank of Malaya has over 2,400 branches in 20 countries and regions around the world, distributed in 10 ASEAN countries and 5 financial centers in London, New York, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Singapore. Since Malaysia Bank set up its representative office in Beijing in April 1994, it has successfully set up Shanghai branch, Beijing, Kunming branch, Shenzhen branch in China in 2000, 2012, 2014, 2015. And as a regional bank rooted in Malaysia, Bank of Malaya has been laid out in the ASEAN region for a long time, and its institutional outlets cover all 10 ASEAN countries. It will continue to pay attention to all kinds of major economic events that have brought changes to the region since RCEP came into effect, and adjust its own strategic planning to seek a more suitable market position and better serve the economic needs. Recently, Bank of Malaya put forward the M25 Plus strategy, that is to become a value-oriented platform equipped with outstanding employees to provide humanized financial service. This includes, and in Kuala Lumpur, and in terms of RCEP, and a lot of work in progress, and how to seize the relevant development opportunities brought about by RCEP. As a branch of Bank of Malaya in China, on one hand, we are closely following the strategic guidance of the head office, strengthening investment in personnel training, system construction, and product construction, making full preparations. On the other hand, making use of its own cross-border advantage, including finance, supports goods, trade, and investment among RCEP members through credit financing, trade settlement credit products such as a licensed business, focus on the main industry, providing financial support for companies in China and RCEP member countries, and focus on the development of engineering contracting enterprises, energy enterprises, and high-tech enterprises that invest or carry out business in 10 ASEAN countries. Provide financial support for target customer groups to undertake housing constructions, rail transit, hydropower station, and other engineering projects in the areas along the BRI, as well as a linkage with the group organizations of the bank in the project location to meet the needs of the customers, to understand the local market environment and the relevant regulations. Secondly, strengthen internal and external cooperation to promote the cross-border use of RMB for parent company or guarantor in mainland China. For customer groups in overseas regions, the bank established the internal contact network with the global account managers of the head office and overseas group organizations in the place where the customer's business is located, maintain close business communication, provide efficient business contact, assist in providing business consultation, and provide domestic and overseas comprehensive credit and other supporting financial services for customers. And of course, we have many considerations. And this is my own view. And in terms of investment, and we can further promote and the cross-border investment, it is called CIPS, and it is good for the internationalization of RMB, and there is, financial institutions as an organization, and first of all, and these the 10 ASEAN countries, and we can promote, we can encourage the countries to settle in RMB in yuan. And the other countries were able to promote the settlement by yuan, and that is the internalization of yuan. And the other thing that in terms of large commodities, and it is part of internationalization of RMB, and many companies, and in my own view, and while the banks and try to push the transaction by RMB, and the whole country, in the past it was priced by dollars, and step by step in our plan it will be used the yuan and to find a feasibility and to find out a solution, so that in terms of natural gas or the palm oil, and Malaysia's trade with China is huge in its scale, and by the central banks, we encourage these companies in export with China. They can use RMB. Of course, there might be some barriers or headwinds in between because they were used to dollars, but we will continue the trade settlement in yuan. And the other thing I want to say, and in promoting Belt and Road, and we have some of the Panda bond and the RCEP volume, and if it is large enough, and probably, and we can have and we can encourage these Chinese companies going abroad. And the other thing, and in China, which has not been promoted, that is an Islamic financing. Malaya Bank in Islamic financing, we are quite leading. We are thinking about whether we have, for example, and what kind of bond we can issue, and probably, and as a financial center, and we are able to have such a positive thinking as a financial center due to time constraint. And that's the end of my sharing. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Yap, General Manager of MBB, and for your consideration, especially how to promote the Panda bonds as well as CIPS. And the next speaker is Executive Vice President and Head of Overseas Banking Group, Metropolitan Bank and Trust Company, Mr. Richard Benedict Chassel.
Distinguished guests, good day. I hope you are all safe and well. I'm honored to be representing Metrobank in this forum organized by the Asian Financial Cooperation Association, AFCA. This initiative, led by the Chinese government, plays a significant role in enhancing financial connectivity and cooperation within Asia. People have long been connected by trade along the Asian Silk Road dating back more than 2,000 years ago. Today, in modern times, many trade and investment agreements between China and other Asian countries, including the Philippines, have promoted close economic ties in the region. For this reason, Metrobank has always been optimistic about the Chinese market. Since the 1990s, the bank had the foresight to establish presence in China, particularly in Beijing and Shanghai, as it saw various windows of opportunities. Over 30 years ago was when Metrobank started to gain its footprint in China, starting with its representative office in Shanghai. And since then, we have expanded our presence significantly. We established Metrobank China, a wholly owned subsidiary with head office in Nanjing, in 2010, and expanded its branches in Shanghai, Changzhou, Quanzhou, Xiamen, Suzhou, and Ningbo, as well as other eastern coastal areas. We know that enhanced financial connectivity between the China and the Philippines will not only support trade and investment activities, but can also fuel productivity, immunity, and financial inclusivity within the two states. That is why our target since day one is to build new bridges of opportunities between the people of the Philippines and the people of China, mainly on trade and investments. Between 2016 and 2022, foreign direct investments from companies from China amounted to $1.7 billion, according to data from Central Bank of the Philippines. This ranks second among the Philippines' major sources of FDI, with Chinese FDI having invested $1.1 billion. Against this backdrop, Metrobank made heavy investments to connect the two countries by engaging local businesses. Significantly, the bank pioneered and proactively reinforced the Philippines' financial collaboration with China by being the first Filipino bank to offer renminbi-denominated banking products in the Philippine market. Metrobank China has implemented strategies under the influence of the Chinese government's Yangtze River Economic Belt and the Belt and Road Initiative. This move has allowed Metrobank and Metrobank China to serve as the link and host of various financing arrangements for Chinese-funded enterprise contracts, infrastructure projects, and investments in steel plants in the Philippines, Laos, Vietnam, and other countries under the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative has been a very good opportunity for Chinese enterprises to invest in Southeast Asia. However, there are certain challenges that inhibit them from further pursuing their businesses in some areas. For example, they may encounter different obstacles before they can get approval financing from Philippine banks due to insufficient business information or insufficient credit history. But with the Metrobank Group's presence in China and its strong and well-capitalized position in the Philippines, it has a wealth of resources and cross-border financial services, products that can provide support to Chinese-funded enterprises. In a bid to allow Chinese firms to meet their business financial needs, as well as cater to their own customers and partners, we provide them with diversified cross-border financial services. In fact, the past few years, Metrobank China has successfully hosted financing arrangements for Chinese-funded enterprises for big-ticket infrastructure projects, among many others, under the Belt and Road Initiative. It has also provided forfeiting financing services to Chinese exporters in order to support China's exports within ASEAN countries, especially the Philippines. The bank has also provided reissue guarantee services for Chinese firms and supported local contracting of infrastructure projects in the Philippines. We are doing all these because we believe that with stronger economic integration between the two countries, we can fully achieve the potential of each state and harness the dynamism for sustained shared benefits. As we celebrate Metrobank's 60th anniversary this year, we remain committed in staying true to our mission of helping businesses grow. Since our foundation in 1962, we continuously maintain strong alliance with the Filipino-Chinese business community in our country. We also remain a strong advocate in supporting foreign investments and the government's economic strategy to help propel the Philippines to a better future. With this in mind, Metrobank and Metrobank China will continue to cater various Chinese and Filipino businesses and bridge them to form strategic partnerships for the benefit of economies of both countries. We will also further strengthen our ties with Chinese financial institutions to deepen our collaboration and better serve our Chinese and Filipino clients. Thank you once again for giving us this opportunity to be part of this forum. May I also congratulate you for bringing in institutions together to further strengthen economic collaborations. I wish you all a good day and mabuhay.
好，那谢谢 Richard。
Thank you, Mr. Richard. So he shared with us from the perspective of Metrobank regarding how to further promote the bilateral cooperation and the bilateral cooperation within our RCEP framework. The next speaker will be the Chief Economist and Managing Director of ICBC International, Mr. Cheng Shi, please. Dear leaders, distinguished guests, I'm Cheng Shi. I'm honored to attend the 2020 FSM online. Focusing on the keyword of this forum, today I will focus on the theme of RCEP helps regional economic rejuvenation. We all know that RCEP came into effect on January the 1st this year, which is quite exciting news for the global and Chinese economy. So from the professional perspective as an economist, these taking effect of RCEP is of great help to alleviate the protectionist tendency, promote the global economic recovery, and help China's economy achieve a high level of openness. 2022 can be described as a year of ups and downs and volatilities. Since the beginning of this year, COVID-19 resurged, the geopolitics violently shaken the local development, and the financial market also experienced epic earthquakes one after another. The emergence of RCEP is of unique era significance. We can see that RCEP is a global cyclical adjustment and a short to give the new hope. The positive effect of RCEP is very important in two aspects. It will effectively alleviate the short-term stagflation pressure. It will also help the economic recovery, reduce the regional costs, and ease upward pressure of inflation through tariff reduction. Secondly, it will help the cultivation of a total factor productivity. And the international trade has been quite low. Against this background, the RCEP is actually heading upward, which has also lightened up the development of the eastern region in the world. It has also enhanced the confidence of many countries. It covers 10 ASEAN countries and 5 AP countries. The total GDP of all members accounts for about 30% of the world's total, covering most participants in the industrial supply chain. And the Trade and Investment Cooperation among members has a long history. The effective RCEP has reduced the barriers, narrowed the distance, and also promote the free flow of productive factors in the region, stimulated the vitality for all members, and brought new opportunities for their economic development. In short, RCEP is a positive and far-reaching measure for the whole world, AP, and China. We expect and believe that RCEP will lead the new development of regional economy and create a new era of high-quality economic development. In the process of RCEP landing, professional strengths will play a key role. As the largest professional financial institution in the world, ICBC will also provide professional services for the landing. We also look forward to providing financial support for the real economy enterprises and achieve innovative development by leveraging RCEP. Finally, I wish this event a full success. Thank you. So thank you. Just now, Dr. Cheng shared with us about how RCEP has promoted the Asia and global economic recovery. And lastly, let's give the floor to Madam E Zhihua, Chief Economist of the Bank of China Hong Kong Limited, please. Thank you, Mr. Guan. Dear guests, dear experts, good morning. I'm very happy to share with you on the RCEP rules and also internationalization of RMB. I've heard your observations on the different aspects of RCEP, so I would like to touch upon 3 fronts. So the first is RCEP economic and trade rules and regional economic integration. The second is opportunities and challenges of the use of RCEP. And the third is the economic and trade recommendations for promoting the internationalization of RMB. So as the highest level FTA agreement, RCEP plays an important role in regional integration and economic integration and recovery. Rules-wise, we see that the trade rules will show 3 features. Number 1, it will have these creative rules of origin This is an important foundation. And second, it has also launched many forward-looking trade rules for the high-level development of e-commerce and also the paperless transaction, etc. So such trade rules will largely reduce the trade barriers within the region. Investment-wise, we see that the trade investment rules also adopted in active list scheme, which is conducive to attracting high-quality foreign investment and also to reduce the policy risks related to investment, which is favorable for the overall regional development. Regarding the trading service rules, and that is also quite related to our financial institutions. In a more open market, RCEP member states can enjoy a more open investment opportunities and more fair chances and competition environment. We can also promote the cooperative space. And also I want to touch about the use of RMB within the region. So the internationalization of RMB has always taken the region as a key region, and we have established 7 offshore settlement banks, and we also signed the 8 agreements regarding currency swaps, and some countries have incorporated RMB as their reserve currency. And this has been a very good foundation for the region. And also in terms of transaction scope, RMB has seen an expansion. In terms of the bulk trade, RMB has also been widely used. So in promoting the internationalization of RMB, we also see some challenges. For example, some countries have different levels of acceptance of RMB. For example, in Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore, they widely accept the RMB, and in Japan, SK, there needs to be improvement. And in some countries, the acceptance level is relatively low. And also, challenge number 2 is that the cross-border investment and trade space can also be further expanded in terms of transaction payment. USD is still the dominant currency. And also, regarding the regional market, the development is unbalanced, so the development stages can be varied. For example, for most of the ASEAN countries, in terms of participating in domestic RMB bond, there also have been differences in the levels of participation. So these challenges partly come from the financial barriers of different countries. But we believe that in RCEP, we will have more opportunities for RMB internationalization, because as we accelerate the trade investment in the region, there will be very solid material foundation for the internationalization of RMB. For example, China's infrastructure and foreign assistance in the infrastructure projects in other countries. And these will also bring new opportunities for the internationalization of RMB. And regarding the trade cooperation improvement, there will also be the settlement and payment opportunity for RMB, which will also give more room for RMB to play in the region. And the third opportunity is that RCEP encourages the development of SME, which will also promote enterprise-level development and cross-border payment. These are quite important. So from this context, going forward, we will better use the trade investment for RMB and its use in the region. With RMB embracing a new strategic opportunity, we have seen a very good window of opportunity for RMB, and the RMB's international status can be steadily improved. And in the region, we can further capitalize on the settlement role of Hong Kong as a financial center, and also to galvanize the use of RMB in the region. And now Hong Kong has become the important platform for the investment in RMB. For example, the asset management center and interconnectivity related activities will promote the use of RMB. And most recently, we've also seen the continued accumulation of risks. So RMB has also increasingly become a currency for fending off risks. And these will also further improve the use of RMB in the international financial market, and there will be more confidence.
To be specific, there are several things I want to suggest. First, we need to leverage the market openness commitment by RCEP, and to promote high-quality development of China's trade and laid a very good foundation for RMB internationalization. And by leveraging the trade and investment facilitation and the liberalization, and we can upgrade China's industrial chain upgrade and its overall product competitiveness to provide a material basis for it. Thirdly, by leveraging RCEP and to promote that intra-RCEP rules revision and to have a higher level of openness, and so that we can have a higher level of economic factors. And so that is the capability of allocating resources internationally and domestically. And fourth, we can leverage and we can encourage the financial institutions that go in abroad. This is a very important area. And the fourth one is that RCEP, and in terms of digital sector, digital currencies to make an important infrastructure for different countries. And number 6, and we can accelerate the relevant a better business environment. The 7th, to give full play to clearing banks to better serve the facilitation of cross-border economic and trade investment in RCEP. And the 7 offshore RMB clearing banks in RCEP should play a key role in promoting RMB internationalization and fully promote the trade and investment between China and other RCEP member countries, expect scope of bilateral local currency settlement, and promote the international use of RMB. And we need to give full play to the relevant institutional arrangements, speed up implementation of transformation and upgrading of clearing banks, improve the infrastructure construction of CIPs, and upgrade from providing clearing service to RMB business, especially playing the role of market and cultivators and promoters. And from a higher strategic position, take the initiative to undertake the extension of the functions of People's Bank of China in the RCEP area and promote the coverage of RMB accounts in the local market. Strengthen the construction of local currency and RMB foreign exchange market, and be brave to act as a market maker and quotation bank. Strengthen the research and development of RMB assets and the liquidity support. Ensure the healthy and stable development of the RMB market and create a good ecological and market environment. And also from the perspective of financial institutions, and explore the actual needs of enterprises and improve the functions of RMB in settlement currency, valuation currency, and financing currency in the region. In terms of the projects, infrastructure, manufacturing, and the engagement level to carry out relevant service to expand utilization of RMB, especially Chinese-funded companies seeking global development. The focus is on the contract and manufacturing, and the whole process and investment and financing are mutually beneficial to each other. and to help these bulk commodities transaction by using RMB, and to pay RMB to the suppliers, and to promote the key areas RMB's utilization, to lower the threshold, and to provide relevant business, and we can enhance the relevant marketing, and for example, the bonds by RMB, the saving by RMB, and a series of service is offered to enhance the role of RMB in the foreign exchange, and to further promote the use of RMB in the overseas sectors. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you, Madam E. And just now, Madam shared with us the RCEP views, as well as the relevant new ideas, and to promote the RMB's utilizations. And she talked about the 8 aspects and how to further promote the utilization of RMB, how time flies. And we find out it's almost 12 o'clock. And finally, because this is a round table, we still have 10 minutes. We have one question, and you may talk about it from your own perspective. For example, what are the financial infrastructure barriers existing in the RCEP members, and how and where we can achieve financial connectivity? And from what aspects we can promote Asia, especially RCEP members' financial infrastructure connectivity? So 2 questions you can pick, either one to answer. 3 minutes to each of you, and you can answer one of them. Why not we start from Mr. Wang Wen? And thank you, Mr. Guan Tao, for offering me this opportunity. And I'm from China Export and Credit Insurance Corporation as a policy institution. And in the Asia financial market and financial institutional cooperation, we played a very important role. In our understanding, insurance cooperation is the risk barrier, including the investment, trade, financial market, through the export and credit insurance, and the people can get the credit information. However, that we can play a more proactive role, and for example, to provide better commercial opportunities to the banks and companies to construct a better organized financing structure to increase the efficiency. And at the same time, and the China Export and Credit Insurance Corporation and could provide impetus. And still, we hope, and in the financial cooperation, we need to attach importance to the policy instruction, or the policy instrument. How about you, Mr.
Second question, and as I mentioned in my speech before, for financial infrastructure connectivity, it is very important to establish informational exchange system on a timely manner. And I think international association like AFCA, of course, could cover this work to arrange such kind of informational exchange, because it has very good experience in this sphere to how it's arranging joint studies and always send to its members all relevant information. So, and the second step after the establishing of informational exchange should, from my point of view, should be the harmonization and unification of regulation rules and norms. And this also could be covered by international financial associations like AFCA, which could be the platform for financial experts who could change its opinions and create kind of recommendation for the regulators authorities through the RCEP to, as I said, to unify and harmonize its legislation.
好，谢谢铁木尔先生。那么
Thank you, Mr. Timur. And Ms. And you talked about so much. Do you have any other information you want to add? Well, in terms of regional cooperation, and I should say that Africa could play a bigger role. And in the regionalization, we can target for the future development, maybe in the future, and from European Commission to EU, and maybe from the, we can also propose some vision for the regionalization in Asia. And of course, and in the financial infrastructure connectivity, we can further promote connectivity at the infrastructure level. This is highly critical. We also need to control and mitigate the relevant risks. And Mr. Dong, Vice President Dong. And very briefly, I want to talk about from taking effectiveness to the regionalization. People say it takes a long time, a long process. If we talk about the challenges or the barriers, it comes from the attitude of the people or the subjectivity of the people in terms of the policy, from the regulation, institutionally, whether we promote it proactively. And the other thing is that that is the tariff concession, how much we can lower the tariff, how openness it is relevant to the product and the trade, some about the national strategy. Of course, most of them about the private sector is pretty easy, but also subjectivity of the people and the relevant relation between each other. And tech-wise, if we look at the insurance sector, the biggest tech barrier is the confidentiality of the information. You know that insurers or insurees, sometimes to some degree, we need to protect the information. You know, once cross-border, we need a good solution. And surely some companies, including domestic ones, have a privacy algorithm. By such a technology, we can protect your private information. Well, so all these are barriers and challenges. As long as we can make concerted efforts, and we are not rivals, and we are partners and peers, and I believe it enjoys a very broad future. And thank you, Vice President Dong. And Mr. Zhong, Chief Economist, do you have any other information to add? The last one, I'd like to have General Manager of MBB, Mr. Ye. Mr. Ye. Mr. Zhong, do you have any other information you want to add? Mr. Yep, Mr. Yep, do you have any other information to add? Mr. Yep, yes, please go ahead. Mr. Yep, please go ahead. Okay. So I still want to talk about RMB internationalization. And this is a very good moment because you know that the outflow and inflow of the trade are in ASEAN countries. If we can leverage the power of ASEAN countries and we can build up the CIPs and to further require these member countries to promote and the process of RMB internationalization. The local companies, and they have business with the ASEAN members. If they have business in EU or America, they can use RMB for settlement. That will be a good help. Make price in RMB. That will have upgrade the RMB internationalization. And at present, and the pricing, especially like I mentioned, the bulk commodity still priced by dollars. And to me, I think that we need to make more efforts. And just now, some guests talked about RCEP is a sophisticated framework. And to us, in the several commercial, the Chamber of Commerce and associations, we make great efforts in promoting and discussion. And how could we help these companies to seek global markets in the Southeast Asia by providing some high-quality cross-border RMB service. And thank you, General Manager Yap. And with that, we finish this session. I want to make a brief conclusion. I really want to thank the 8 speakers for sharing with us their views and suggestions. And we have both micro and macro and discussion. There are 2 things I want to say. China needs RCEP because China needs to further expand its openness to the outside world at a higher level quality. So by regional cooperation, China will be a profound participant in the global multinational, the multilateral cooperation. At the same time, and RCEP members need China because the openness of China is the equivalent of a large potential market where the ASEAN members can enjoy the dividend with the growth of China's growth. And of course, RCEP has a very ambitious blueprint and a lot of specific questions. Some of them are very difficult to answer. We need to take a solid step and to respond to it and in a targeted way to solve these issues step by step and to promote ASEAN and RCEP regions' economic and trade development to a new level. And thank you very much for your discussion and time. That's the end of the morning. And thank you, Mr. Guan Tao. Thank you, all the experts, for your insightful remarks. And due to COVID-19, several of the experts can only join us online. And even though we had several rounds of online discussion, and in the previous discussion, we still have some minor problems. So partially, we see that the world we are living in is full of uncertainties. Thank you, Mr. Guan Tao. Thank you, all the experts, for joining us in today's discussion. And we believe that with the invitation of RCEP and in region and different levels, we can realize connectivity. Let's maintain a multilateralism and trade liberalization to promote regional economic regionalization and to make a contribution to the economic recovery and prosperous development. And let's work hand in hand to look forward to this place with the highest number of population, with the broadest future. And thank you very much. Thank you for listening. And that's the end of this morning session. And we start at 2:30, and we will have online. And we have the annual report of Asia Financial Cooperation Association 2022 and Asia Market Observation. And you're welcome to join us online at 2:30.